Yo, sorry that I'm a tiny bit late, chat, but here I am. Welcome back to Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 7. Alright, so how's it going? Project Omnia, how's it going? King Nova, and everybody else who is watching the stream and watching the VOD after the stream is over. Hang on, I haven't actually pulled the episode yet. Hang on, give me a sec. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Let me put chat over here. So, previous episode I would say was pretty good, as usual. So I'm expecting more great stuff from Vinland Saga Season 2. When the previous episode we focused a lot more on the day-to-day lives of the characters, and it would assume I would assume by the end of the previous episode we're gonna get we got a bit of a time skip, right? Maybe not so much, right? We just Thorfinn just grew a goatee, but I would assume going forward we're going to get more and more of these little jumps in time, right? To the point where to how they look like in the opening. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see like the friendship, their dynamic, where they're gonna go. And especially the conflict, right? I mean, so far I would say the main conflict within the farm itself, revolves around first of all, the conflict between the slaves and the owners, right? Specifically the retainers, right? That's always going to be a conflict, right? But of course, the obvious main conflict for now would be the inner conflict, especially for Thorfinn, right? Dealing with his past that he doesn't really want to associate with, right? Trying to block that out of his memory. But in regards to external conflict, and by external conflict, I'm talking more about like Canute, right? King, what was his brother's name again? Harold, if I remember. Like that's the external conflict, right? That's the external conflict that has nothing to do with the internal conflict of Thorfinn for now. So we're only 7 episodes in out of 24 episodes. We still have a long ways to go. I would assume for most of season 2 we're gonna be heavily focusing on Thorfinn's character and Einar's as well, right? Their inner conflict, their inner struggles, right? So in that regard, that's kind of what I'm expecting with this episode and the next episode and the next episode for most of the episode. But anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I actually have nothing to say more on the intro. If you have your copy of Vinland Saga Season 2 Episode 7 ready, then we should be good to go. As usual, timer-based reaction. So there's gonna be a timer. It's gonna be 5 seconds for a countdown. Once it hits 0, I press play, you press play. We should all be in sync. And if you don't like timer-based reactions, that's fine. There's going to be a picture-in-picture version in the description below once the stream is over. So if that is to your liking, then you have options. Anyways, enough talking. Hope everybody have their copies ready, because I am about to start the countdown in 3, 2, 1. Just finished roughly 15 minutes ago yourself. Excited to see my reaction and thoughts on this episode. Straight to the opening. Nope. Oh. Okay. Hang on. Let me pause. Let me go back. Sorry. Um, Subtitles weren't showing. Um, all right, hard reset. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Rewind. All right, everything should be good. Okay, sorry about that, chat. All right, here we go. Iron Fist. Hmm. The thieves. Hopefully, they're not gonna blame the slaves for it. Or maybe it is the slaves. Like some of them are actually stealing. Yeah, this opening is great. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that shot. Love that these two are still talking and interacting. He really is a good person. Yeah. Hmm. The mistress. Ah. They talk every morning. That's sweet. That is sweet. Oh, that slap was a mood changer, that's for sure. But look at this. Their hard work slowly growing. You can see how like excited Einar is looking at it, right? Like this is his bread and butter, right? Whereas Thorfinn is trying to understand the beauty behind it. Einar already knows. Hmm. Always the optimist. Yeah. Oh, look at that smile. Yes. But right. I was talking about like conflict within the farm. This is conflict within the farm, right? If Thorfinn is conflicted with himself, then Einar is conflicted with Arnheid and her situation. This is good. Pray. Even Thorfinn is taken aback to this. Thorfinn's not the religious type, right? As we know from season 1. Yeah, who? Anyone. I love how Einar phrase it though. Like who do I pray for? Doesn't matter who you pray, just pray, right? Oh, I love these two. They complement each other, right? A yin and a yang. Oh, that was great. That was great. Whoa. Whoa. The other brother. The one that looks a lot more like Ketil than Olmar. Able to wield his sword. Thorgil. Hmm. Suddenly, Olmar's desire to be on the battlefield kind of makes more sense now. King Canute, yeah. Hmm. You can tell that the father is concerned about Olmar, right? He just wants him to be safe. Okay, let's see this. Oh, Snake and Thorgil. Ah, okay. Okay. Hmm. Brother and sister, I would assume. Right. Yeah, Ketil has mixed feelings on this. Like he knows that order needs to be kept, but at the same time, like they're kids. You know what I mean? Ni-chan. Forcing them to make them watch all of this delicious food. Yeah, he's yeah. Oh wow. The ears of the enemies. It's not jerky, my dude. Yeah. What you didn't realize it? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, trying to prove a point, right? Iron Fist Kettle. Mmm. Mmm. That was a nickname. I figured. Doesn't want to talk about it. Hmm. Yeah, from the way he was sighing, he doesn't really want to do this. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Hmm. For seeing who he truly is. Smiling, trying to be kind. Sture and Thora. Hmm. They probably don't know. Okay. Hmm. Ah. Pater knows. Ah. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Love that we are seeing this. Wow. Take it on me instead. Basically, yeah. Yeah, I was about to say like this entire scene basically tells you the audience, right? How each of these characters would act in the situation and how they would, how they would do it. Thank you, Potter. Thank you. We're gonna talk about Ketil in a bit. Ketil couldn't decide that. An example must be made. Like a mercy. He was doing it out of mercy, right? It's better if Ketil did it with the least amount of force than if he let Thorgil did it, which could probably hurt him a lot more, right? Uh Talking to Arnheid, and that's why she was looking at it, right? Her expression, her emotion during that scene. Great episode, by the way. Great episode. Now this presents even more conflict. Shit. Fantastic episode. yeah. This episode introduced a lot of um. uh, it's it adds more context, and it made Kettle's character, his character makes a lot more sense now after this episode, right? From the way we first met Kettle in episode 1, because we kept asking and questioning, like his motive, like, is this really him? Is this really just a farce? Is Kettle just putting on, like putting a putting on a show, like, hey, I'm the good guy, right? Even though he's buying slave. That's that's his first, that is our first introduction to his character, right? So there's a lot of like questions about him, right? But now, right, seeing this episode, seeing how he interacts, seeing his a tiny glimpse of his backstory, it makes so much more sense now, right? And it's it, it makes Kettle. I mean, Kettle is already an interesting character in my opinion, but this episode just kind of elevates him more to that level of, oh yeah, you need to look at this character now, right? You need to pay attention to this character now, right? Um, Man, it is it is so good. Like this entire scene in general, like this scene, um, where we're seeing Kettle's response, we're seeing Snake's response, we're seeing Thorgil's response, we're seeing Pater's response, like we're seeing everybody's response to all of this, and it greatly shows like who these characters truly are. Right? Just from their expressions, just from like their suggestions, it immediately showcases, like who they are, what their stance are. Kettle, as we know as the episode goes along, he is somebody who is kind at heart, and he really doesn't, he doesn't like violence, he doesn't want any of this, but he has to put on a show. Now it's like completely different. At first we thought the kindness is the act. No, it's the other way around. The violence is actually the act. He doesn't really want to do it, but he kind of has to do it because, one, he needs to showcase that he is the master of the farm, and he needs to be like, the he needs to represent order, right? He is the ruler, right? He is the master, so he needs to showcase everybody else what order is. He needs to showcase what the rules are. He needs to enforce those rules, even though he's kind of like against punishing people. But it's kind of, you can't really put on an example without actually punishing people, whether if it's harsh or not, right? And then you have Snake, who's like holds a lot more, Snake holds more order, right? He follows the rules a lot more. He values order more so than Kettle, and he would showcase not necessarily violence, but he would enact, punishment that he seems that he would view to be deserved. But he still has principles, right? He still has this sort of line that he's not even gonna cross, right? Like even in the previous episode, we learn, like Snake for who he is, for how much he is respected by a lot of the bodyguards and all that stuff. Even he would still show kindness to Thorfinn and to Einar, right? When they were at Spherical's house, right? It was like, hey, you guys want to eat? Go eat. You guys finish your job, right? You deserved it, right? Because you did your job. You followed the rules. But if you do something wrong, I will beat you. But if you follow the rules, then I will respect you, right? That's Snake from my current um my current view of him and how much. I mean, only 7 episodes in, right? We still don't know much about him, but from what we gather, that is what I can take away from Snake's character. Thorgil, on the other hand, we just met him today. We just met him this episode. But immediately, Thorgil is like the complete opposite spectrum, right? So if you have like, I would say if Ketil is like right here on the left, Snake would be right in the middle. Thorgil would be right here on the right. Thorgil is like, I mean, you've seen who he is, right? He is somebody who has seen battle. He is more of a warrior, quote unquote, right? And look, if you do something wrong, if you break the rules, I will punish you, and I will punish you hard. Pater, on the other hand, Pater is the one who kind of took me aback a bit, because Pater is also right there in the middle, along with Snake, because Pater has experience in the past being a slave, now earning his freedom, right? Well, I mean, to be fair, we don't really know if Pater actually used to be a slave, right? For all we know, that could have been a lie, but I would assume it's not a lie, considering Ketil's the one who told Thorfinn. Ketil's the one who told Einar about it. So, considering who Ketil is in this episode, I would assume that's not a lie at all, and Pater actually used to be a slave and already earned his freedom. But it's this mentality, this view, because he used to be a slave and he got himself his freedom, that he has this view of, yeah, you need to follow the rules, but at the same time showing compassion, like Pater showed compassion, right? Like, this kid shouldn't be, we shouldn't chop this kid's arm or whatever, right? That's too far. We can make him work. We still need to punish him. This entire episode is it's just great. Like, I was expecting Thorfinn Einar episode again, because, kind of continuing what happened in the previous episode, but nope, we're getting a full-on Ketil episode. Thorfinn and Einar only appeared, like, what, for the first 7 minutes of this episode, and all they did was pray, which is a great scene, by the way. It kind of showcases, like, their growing friendship, also tying back to the themes of season 1 of Vinland Saga concerning, religion, faith, beliefs, right? But the rest of the episode focuses entirely on Ketil, his family, and his own inner conflict. And this is really great. Why? Because this is something that we don't really see in season 1, right? Season 1 of Vinland Saga, yes, we have a lot of son and father issues, right? But we mostly deal with the sons. We mostly deal with, how the son would. Yeah, what I'm saying, I'm stumbling my words here a bit. But in season 1 and throughout most of the beginning of season 2, right up until this episode, we focuses a lot more on the sons, right? We focus on Thorfinn, we focus on even Askeladd to an extent, right? Even though Askeladd is a father figure to Thorfinn in a way, he still has issues with his own father, right? And we don't really see that issue just until like 1 episode only, and that's like in the past, right? Askeladd mostly served as this obstacle to Thorfinn, which is why I'm saying, right, Thorfinn having issues with his father figure, right? But we don't really get to see the father having issues with the son. This is what we're getting. Ketil having issues with his son. One of his sons is a real hardened warrior who upholds order, shows violence. Not really violent. Well, yeah, kind of. And is a hardened warrior, right? Everything that Ketil is seen as, right? This lie of Ketil being this hardened warrior, the Iron Fist, right? Thorgil is just that, but real. But then you have Olmar, who is trying to be a warrior as well, but he doesn't like to. But he doesn't like to be in his farm. He doesn't like to be with his, with Ketil. He wants to stay away from it. Because in the beginning, I thought, oh, this is gonna be a situation where we're gonna be focusing on Olmar and his issues with Ketil. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is gonna be more about Ketil and his issues with his sons. That would actually make a really this would make a really good subplot and would actually complement Vinland Saga as a whole. I really, really wish and I hope that they're gonna continue with this subplot a lot. Because by the end of this episode, is something that is very, very conflicting, right? Because on one hand, I do feel like I want the best for Ketil, right? This is a person who is broken, and he definitely has he's currently having problems with his own identity, right? Because he is lying to everybody else about who he is. He is lying to his sons. He is lying to everybody else. He is lying to himself, right? Because he has to put on this act of this really strong person, right? But even though he's not, he is weak on the inside. Not saying that's a bad thing. No, that's fine. That's like people, humans. We all have different emotions and stuff. But it's this weight, this feeling of how long is he gonna do this, right? Like you can definitely see that this is eating away at him, and he is struggling. He is finding comfort in Arnheid, right? And for him, this is a good thing, right? If we are to remove or ignore Arnheid's own situation, this is a good thing for Ketil, because this is the one place where Ketil can be himself, find solitude. Not really solitude because he's with another person, but this is the one place where he can be himself, where he can talk to his feelings. This is basically a therapy session for Ketil, right? But the conflict is because we know Arnheid's situation. We know that she is a slave, and we know that for the good of her, she needs to get out of this place. And for Einar himself as well, right? Because Einar's talking about like, hey, can Arnheid, be free just the same as us? I mean, we all want that. We all want that to happen. Now, it's like, okay, if we remove Arnheid out of the picture, then what's gonna happen to Ketil? I mean, I don't want Ketil to be living in full on misery. No, I want him to move on. But he seems to be so he couldn't let go of Arnheid, right? That's the problem. He can't he can't let Arnheid go because of what her role is to his life. And the only way to fix this is if he can fix it himself, right? He needs to figure this out. This is a problem that he needs to to fix immediately. The problem is I think it's gone way too far, right? This is like a lie that has been built up for years. Years and years and years, right? And he is so conflicted about it. Arnheid obviously does not like this. Like the look on her face, like come on. This is a character who's like, yep, I don't want to be here. I don't like this, but I kind of have to comfort the man because the man is broken. Like it's like, what do you do? Without you, my world is full of darkness. Yes, I agree. But we also need to take the light and put it in, put it somewhere else. Like there, like we need to put the light and put it somewhere else now. And if we do that, then yeah, this conflict is great. This conflict is great. Is she a slave, or have we seen her before? She looks very familiar. No connection to Thorfinn? No. No. Um Arnheid is first introduced in season 2. I don't think we've ever seen her before in season 1. This is an entirely new character. Yeah, I agree, Project Omnia. Yeah, this Ketil's whole situation is fucked, and because his only salvation is Arnheid, at least for the time being, right? From what we gather right now, right, with all the information that we have, it becomes a lot more conflicting, and it becomes a lot more troublesome for our main characters, and especially for Arnheid, if we want them to go. Like, obviously, well, it's for me at least, I want the best for everybody, right? I want Ketil to move on, and I want him, to find, like, this is all a matter of like character redemption and character development, right? Obviously, we want characters to develop to be the best that they can be, right? For Ketil, obviously, we want Ketil to move on, to stop lying to himself, and to embrace who he is, right? Who he truly is. But at the same time, you also want Arnheid to not be a slave anymore, because for obvious reasons, right? But it's so hard to let these two go without without ruining Ketil's life, right? Ketil needs to find a replacement, quote unquote replacement, and by replacement I don't mean like he needs to find another slave or another character to be with. No, I mean replacement as in he needs to find um a different solution, right? For now, Arnheid is the solution for him, right? So that he can, to talk about his feelings and all that stuff. So he needs to find a different solution, right? He needs to find a different way to let all of this go. The question is, can he? I mean, obviously he can, but it's gonna be really hard. You thought that Thora, the little girl's face and her hair looked similar to that girl that we follow in episode 14 of season 1? I don't know. Like, even if they look similar, like, we gotta remember, like, there's a huge time skip between season 1 and season 2. So even if it is the same character, which one was episode 14 again? Was episode 14 the one where they went to the village and murder people? Was it that episode, or was it a different episode? Yeah, the village. Okay, yeah. That was a fantastic episode, by the way. That episode probably my favorite episode of, well, yeah, favorite or second episode of season one. It's definitely the best directed episode of season one in my opinion. Yeah. Nah, that girl was slightly older in my eyes. Plus, again, time skip couldn't be the case. Um, yeah, I talked about this in the reaction, right? Here, right, we see Thorgil, the first one, swinging already. You know, it's a pretty big swing, right? And then of course you see Arnheid's expression. Now I was looking at this when I was watching this, and I'm like, why are they focusing on her, right? Like I get it. She is showing, you know, empathy. She is showing concern towards the kid. But I figured there was more. And once we saw the context in the end of the episode, I get it. She is not just concerned about the kid, she is also kind of looking at Ketil because of, you know, Ketil's whole situation. She knows that this whole situation is fucked. Ketil comes in and saying, no, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it instead. And I always see this as like a mercy punishment, right? Like, Ketil knows that if he's gonna let Thorgil do it, then this kid is not going to function. So let me do it instead. You know, in his mind, he's doing the right thing, right? At least if I'm punishing you, then I'm not gonna punish you as hard. Even though we kind of see his, you know, this person's face like completely destroyed. But I can't even imagine what this kid would be like if he had Thorgil did it. You know what I mean? This scene of Ketil doing the mercy punishment or whatever kind of reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean. I know, kind of really off topic, but it kind of reminds me of that of a certain scene without spoiling much in the second film. If you know, you know, but I'm not gonna spoil much. But it's very similar in a way, right? Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Yeah, great episode. This entire 2/3 of this episode is phenomenal. I love that they are focusing on Ketil and his family. Love seeing Thorgil and Snake actually being like buddies, even though they're not actually related. Kind of shows like how much of a bond they have. Crazy to think that Snake is actually the one who taught, who teaches Thorgil, you know, all the moves, and stuff. So it kind of puts into perspective like how old Snake is, because maybe Snake is closer in age to Ketil than he is to Thorgil. Now that I'm thinking about it, right? He's definitely old, but I wouldn't assume that he would be that old. I'm assuming Thorgil is around in his early 20s, because Olmar is in his how old was Olmar again? Like 19, 18, something like that. You know, they were talking about like Olmar's age is, you know, he's old enough to not be a child, but he is too young to be called an adult, right? Yeah, really glad that we are getting this episode, and I'm really glad that we are heavily focusing on Ketil. Now I haven't even talked about like Thorfinn and Einar's whole situation at the start, but hey man, I'm glad that these two are able to get along and farm. seeing Einar really happy, like smiling, like yeah, like seeing all their hard work slowly growing, materializing, and Thorvin's like, cool. So what do we do? I just love their dynamic. I just love their dynamic so much. Oh, Arnheid. This should be interesting to see, right? Because they are growing. They are definitely hinting at a growing development between these two, right? Between Einar and Arnheid, right? In this episode, kind of hinted at that they kept talking and meeting each other every morning, right? Very wholesome. But of course, the reality is that she's not really getting she's not really getting the best treatment. And obviously, if you see her expression here when she is talking to Einar, right, smiling, happy, comfortable, right? She is comfortable. She is happy to be here, and she is happy to speak with Einar. Can't really say the same here with that dead look on her eyes, because she's not being herself. She's working, right? She is working as Ketil's personal therapist. That was a joke. Like you can definitely see like the difference between her being herself right here, where her words are all true, right? These are the words, everything that she is talking with Einar comes from the heart, right? She is speaking from the heart here. She is happy, she is smiling. Here, I can't even say that her kind words to Ketil are genuine. I can't really say that. I mean, I don't know, but I can't really say that. Why? Because this expression kind of gives off like, yeah, this is my job. I'm being nice to you because this is my job and you pay me to be nice. I am being nice because I am a slave to you. You are my master. You are upset, and it is my duty to make you feel good. Do I want to do this? Maybe not. But I have to do it because you paid me to do it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with this current situation with Ketil, right? I mean, good for Ketil for because well, not really good for Ketil, but you know what I mean, right? Like for Ketil, this is like a way for him to let all of his emotions out in the good way, not in the bad way, not in the forceful bad way, but like him being able to be himself. So it's kind of the contrast is actually pretty genius if this is the case, like the juxtaposition that Ketil is able to be himself here, but Arnheid isn't being herself here. I don't know. If that is the case, then I really like that. Just this little contrast between these two characters of, on one hand, one of them is being truthful to himself, and then the other one isn't actually being truthful to herself. Like she's only putting on a face. I don't know. It's thinking about it. It's actually pretty genius. I've been going on for almost an hour. Great episode of Vinland Saga, by the way. Oh shit! I almost forgot. There was this. Hang on. Studio Mappa released this short animated sequence on their channel, Vinland Saga episode 6.5. I haven't actually seen it, so I might as well check it out right now. Um, There we go. Vinland Saga episode 6.5, Drowning in the Shadow. Alright, I'm gonna watch this, and we're gonna end the stream afterwards. Hang on. Now I don't I don't know if I'm allowed to actually show it. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to, since this is on YouTube and you guys can easily get it there, if you guys want to open another YouTube tab or whatever, you can do so. I'll also edit this on the picture-in-picture version in the description once all of this is said and done to include, the full footage and whatever. But I'm not going to show the footage or the audio, unfortunately, because I may get copyright claim and I don't want this stream to, to be gone. So I have the episode. I'm sorry, the YouTube video up right now. Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 6.5, Drowning in the Shadow. I'm gonna start a countdown again. I'm just gonna use the timer if you guys want to. But anyways. Sorry that I can't actually, show it to you guys because I don't want to get copyright claim. I hope you guys understand this. Okay. No subtitles? Okay. No, that's more mature Thorfinn. Soundtrack? Oh, wow. Great shot. Wasn't that that building though? Oh, I love the direction in this. Wow. Cuts to older Thorfinn. Young Einar? Oh. They didn't show it. They didn't show it. Left to the imagination. Yeah. Yeah, probably young. Yeah, probably young Einar. I mean, who else has the red hair, right? The brown hair. That was really good. That was really good. Okay, thank you all so much for tuning in to my reaction to Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 7, and the 6.5 short on the Studio Mappa channel. Man, Vinland Saga is so good. Can't stress this enough. I think I talked about it every time I watch each episode. Like, yeah, Vinland Saga good. It is. Vinland Saga is such a good show. It's just one of those shows that, you know, it's my type of show. It just hits everything I want from a show. Great dialogue, nuance in character, just and great direction as well, man. Yeah. Fantastic episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in to my reaction to Vinland Saga once again. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe. And if you want to support me, you can head on over to Patreon, where you can get early access to a bunch of stuff. Not really Vinland Saga stuff, but a bunch of other stuff. And let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to talk about, if you want to discuss the episode, if you want to voice your own opinions and all that stuff. Let me know. Without spoilers, of course, obviously. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. I will see you all next time, next week. Have a nice day. Take care. Peace.